Welcome, ladies and gents, to the launch of a new motorcycle, the Honda CB500X. Actually, it's not really that new. For our overseas YouTube viewers, this model has been gracing their showrooms since 2013. However, it has taken nearly 10 years of marketing exploration to find its way to our humble abode at the bottom of Africa. And that's a terribly exciting thought, because it'll cost the South African rider 120,000 Rand. And that's a good thing, as we shall explain. The CB500 range is the sort of smaller, more nimble range in Honda, with the X being the more adventurous one. Of course, it has all the necessities like a bigger 19-inch front wheel, raised up handlebars, more suspension travel, a nice screen, and a look that sort of says Dakar, but not quite enough for anyone to think that the owner is going to do something stupid. Like its two bigger siblings, it's a parallel twin, meaning a nice compact engine adding to the idea of smaller adventure, when just the other day 500cc's was massive. Actually, to ease the tension a little, the CB tallies in at only 471cc, making things much better. The two pistons chuck out a total of 47 horsepower and 43 Nm of torque, and that's really not bad. As we said a little while ago, the CB500X will cost South Africans 120,000 Rand, which is also tons of money not that long ago, but now it placed itself directly in the pricing firing line of the KTM 390 Adventure and the BMW G310 GS. Sorry to sound all businesslike in marketing there, but the thing is that if Honda is pricing itself the same as these two models, then the 47 horsepower and 43 Nm makes it a class leader by some distance. And you can feel it out on the road. It doesn't give quite the same sensation of a buzzsaw during a power surge that the smaller 390 and 310 give, but man, is there a lot of torque. It grunts its sonorous way almost right after idling until the rev limiter. Of course, you have to be paying attention to the dash when hitting the rev limiter, because the display is in a perpetual night mode that looks dark and mysterious, but makes it a bit tricky to spot the rev bounce mark, especially on a bright African day. The new CB is also extraordinarily comfortable, but then ergonomics is one of Honda's specialties, and its expertise on the matter continues luxuriously here. For the new CB that was not on the last one that we never saw is a set of double discs. We cannot comment on the previous model's stopping competency, only to say that it works well here, with ABS doing the odd role of guardian angel should the two discs go a little overboard. The new 500 also features a lighter radiator, a lighter swing arm, a lighter front wheel, and more glow from the LED lights at the front compared to the last model, which, well, we never saw the last model, but during the entire day of the launch, no one complained about radiators, swing arms, front wheel, or the amount of glow from the front of the motorcycle, so that we presume that that's good. As a matter of fact, there was very little complaint about in general with the CB. It's comfortable, sure-footed, and has a motor that will leverage the needle beyond 160 km per hour, even with its somewhat tall overdrive 6th gear. But we saved the best for last, because now adorning the front end of the CB are new shower big piston front forks, the sort of thing we are used to seeing in the arsenal of top-notch performance bikes. And yet here they are, on this little adventure runaround. They are both happy enough diving into bends on tar passes, rattling over loose rocks on gravel freeways, hitting the odd bump a little harder than the press release suggests, and more. In fact, Honda managed to plan the CB launch during the Highveld monsoon season, where it thunders and pours every night and leaves us with swamps of suspiciously brown material that we shall charitably call mud. The biggest problem here was that the CB's standard tyres are not what you would call knobblies. In fact, I'm pretty sure that I've been knee down and ride Red Star on tyres more off-roady than these. And they become even slicker as globs of snot smeared around them. It made the riding tricky, necessitating the need for a crew of Honda staff to get stuck in feet first to help everyone across. Tensions were palpable as journos crossed the quagmire slowly and feet out. You might even go so far as to say that it was preposterous for Honda to expect us to ride through this stuff on near-slick tyres. Except it sort of wasn't. Yes, it was a tense moment slipping and sliding through the slime. Yet we all got through. No CB went horizontal at any stage, even when it got close. In fact, the only time anyone went horizontal was Jacques from ADA, whose feet weren't knobbly enough. The reason we were able to get through on tyres that really ought not see such dismal trails is because small bikes like this make riding easy. People on adventure forums often preach on about the necessities of big motocross-style wheels, suspension travel from a monster truck, and enough electronics to land humans on Jupiter. But in essence, what you want, if you are serious about conquering tricky paths, is to be able to touch the ground easily enough and for the bike to be light enough to be picked out without an accompanying forklift. And the Honda CB500X is exactly that. Plus it gives you comfort, the Honda stamp of build quality, fuel economy of about 20 kilometers per litre even when there's a fat idiot pinning it all day, and more power and torque than the competition for the same price. It really is difficult to argue against the CB.
I, for one, am very glad that Honda has at last decided to bring the CB500X into South Africa. It really does have the right mix of ingredients to make it a success in this market. Rugged Honda reliability, excellent on-road, so can handle everything from commuting to touring, plenty good enough for most to do some adventure touring as well. And perhaps the spiciest, tastiest ingredient of the lot is the price to performance ratio. It's about 10 grand more expensive than the base G310 GS from BMW, but packs an extra 20 horsepower over that little single cylinder thumper. And it's a similar situation with the KTM 390 Adventure, although it's just a couple of horsepower advantage in that case. 4 to be exact, I think. There's a lot of Honda reliability and build quality in that competitive price as well. As Don has been proving with his long-term reports on his 200cc Hero, you don't need a big bike to have fun, on-road or even in the dirt, and Honda will be hoping that customers see the benefits of a slightly larger capacity bike that can also do it all. I can understand as well why they wouldn't bring in the other more sensible versions of the CB500, though they might want to consider the new CL500, I think it was called. If you watch the programme regularly, you might remember this new model that I saw at EICMA. Basically a Honda Rebel 500, that's a bobber type cruiser, by the way, that also doesn't get imported to South Africa. And that's been turned into a scrambler. It will also undoubtedly be a great all-rounder and would, I imagine, possibly be even a bit cheaper than the X. So another potential model for South Africa perhaps? Yeah, I wouldn't hold your breath. It has taken nearly 10 years to get the CB500 here, so what, maybe 2031 for the CL500? Time for an ad break now, after which a quick riding tip.